raised, right? You're Mormon, then pagan, then kind of questioning?
Yeah, well, I was raised Mormon, and I got out of that pretty quick when I was 13, because that was a little crazy.
Okay.
And, of course, I got pregnant at 16, and I got a lot of dirty looks from people at church. So,
That'll
happen.
I went on a path, and I tried Catholicism. That's even more scary. And
Yeah.
and then I tried other religions and stuff, and then I just found paganism, and I thought, well, I don't really want to adopt myself to any specific religion, so I'll just make this a way of life.
Right.
And my son begged me to call your show because I've had a lot of supernatural experiences happening to me, and he wanted me to kind of share with you, because I'm confused with you guys as to why you don't believe in the supernatural or have faith in just anything. I mean, because I know faith is tied to religion, but for me, it's not. Because religion is just a made-up, I think religion is a made-up thing to instill fear in people. So I don't really conform to religion. So I don't even know what I am.
Sure.
I'm just a free spirit, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of times that I've had, I'm not crazy, but I heard voices tell me things, like when I was driving one time. I was in the middle of separating from my husband, and I was driving from Seattle to Oregon, and I kept hearing somebody say, stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I got to go down there with my son. And it became nighttime, and in Chehalis, Centralia area is really dark. And I heard another voice say, turn on your high beams, because I only had one headlight.
Okay.
I turned on my high beams. There's a 5-point buck in the road. Okay. And I hit it, and it moved my car all the way over to the shoulder, perfectly parallel parked. 2 seconds later, when the car stopped, a semi went past me. I mean, I would have been killed if I hadn't turned on my high beams and listened to that voice. I believe that there are things out there. I don't know what they are. I can't explain it. He definitely wanted me to mention to you about a time where my
well, hold on. Before we move on, let's break down what we've gotten so far. Just to see if we're following. So it sounds to me like you believe that there's something, but you don't know what it is, right?
Right, exactly.
And the reason that you think that is because there have been times that you've heard voices, and at those times something happened that convinced you. I'm confused why you think that there's something supernatural connected to these voices.
It was like a guy telling me to do something to save my life, to protect me. It was like a protecting spirit, I guess you could say. Do you want to call it that? I call them guardians or whatever.
Why do you call it that?
I feel like because they're good spirits.
How do you know that, though? But why do you think good spirit? Like, why does your mind go there? Because I've heard...
Because I don't know any other way to describe it.
Okay.
Other than there's a presence with me that has always been there since I was a child, and has always guided me and told me things. And when I obey...
So how do you know that there's a presence? What is this presence? What do you mean by there's a presence?
I can describe it as a sensation of feeling like there's someone with me.
Okay, so what if I were to tell you that I feel like there's someone with me, and I know that someone is Mary Poppins? That's
great.
Is it?
If she's helping you out and saving your life, that's awesome.
But is she? Hold on, but is she?
She could be.
If I feel like she is and I think that she is, does that mean that she is?
Well, there's something there.
How do you know that, though?
I don't know how.
So I may feel like something's there, but does that mean... So have you ever... So actually, I watched a TED Talk, and it was about being wrong. Do you have any idea what it feels like to be wrong?
Oh, yes.
How does it feel?
It feels horrible.
Oh, right. So describe some of the feelings that you get when you're wrong.
It makes me feel completely empty, completely lost, and completely alone.
Okay. So what you just described is what it feels like when you discover that you're wrong. When you're wrong and you don't know that you're wrong yet, it actually feels exactly like being right. And that's something that really made an impression on me because every time you've ever found out you were wrong, didn't you think that you were right before?
But if I had it turned on my high beams when the voice told me to, I would have been killed. So how would I be wrong? I would be dead.
What I'm saying is that you might be wrong about what it is that's talking to you. It could have been some kind of intuition. It could have been that you've been driving enough times, that you had enough experience, that you've learned that when you see a flicker of a light in the distance, then subconsciously you understand that there might... Hold on, let me finish. Subconsciously, there might be something coming at you, and there might be some kind of adrenaline rush that subconsciously you understand that there's something coming, and you respond, and it sounds like it's a voice. But something that it's hard to understand unless you look into it is that the human brain is very, very easily fooled. There are a lot of times that we think that something is happening when actually something else is happening. And so I'm just trying to figure out. Hold on, I'm just trying to figure out if there is something out there. Pardon me. If there is something out there, say it's supernatural, say it's a god, say it's a deity, say whatever it is, I want to know what it is, because if it's this important that it's directing people in what they're supposed to do in their life and how they're supposed to end their life and how they're supposed to affect other people and change the world and whatever, if it's this big of a deal, I want to know what's really out there, and I want to know what the rules are, right? And so I found out that when I started believing a completely different religion from you, but when I started to do the research and try to figure out what's actually real, because I want to know what the real rules are, I found out that there's nothing out there. There's no reason to believe any of it. And so I just want to know, why do you think that this voice in your head is some higher power? I mean, I just want to know why you think that it could not possibly be your own head.
The reason why I know for a fact that it's not something in my head is because there was an incline in the road. The deer was over the incline. There would have been no way I would have seen a flicker of light of his eyeballs or anything until I switched on my high beams. There was no way of me seeing, or even my brain recognizing that I was in some sort of danger. And the voice I heard was not my own. It was
no, that's okay.
else.
It doesn't have to be your own head. I actually close my eyes sometimes and I hear voices all the time.
Well, auditory hallucinations are the most common, if I'm right, I might be wrong, but I think that auditory hallucinations are the most common form of hallucination. And it can be a result of almost anything, of an emotional stress, of being too tired, of being...
too emotionally stimulated,
too hungry, and then it could also be from if you have head trauma. A lot of people who at some point in their life have had head trauma also have auditory hallucinations sometimes, and it's not your voice that you hear; it's other voices, or it's something. And I mean, the high beams thing is interesting because for me, that was a very big deal when I was learning how to drive, like always turn on your high beams. Like it's kind of drilled into you. So at some point, it could have been, and I'm not saying this is for sure because we don't know for sure, right? There's no way to know. But it could have been that your subconscious was like, oh, wait, did I turn my high beams on? Because I'm driving in the dark on this road, and I've been down that road. It is very dark and kind of scary. Did I turn my high beams on? And it could have been your own subconscious doing that. And that would make a lot more sense, given what we know about the world, than someone else telling you that. So that's where we're coming from.
My question for you guys is, if I was to provide some sort of irrefutable, I can't even say that word.
It's okay.
Proof. Thank you. That there was something supernatural. Okay, for example, my son Carter had his girlfriend over here after my father passed away.
Hold on, before we change the subject and give a different example, can we stick with this one? Because it sounds like this is why you believe in something supernatural, right? So it's more things like this, right? It's more things where you heard voices and...
Well, this is part of that. This will actually
Oh, it's part of the same story? Okay, I'm
elaborate
sorry.
more. Yeah, no problem. I did a seance for his girlfriend. I never did one before. I didn't ask her any questions. I never met this girl before. And I did a seance for her, and I spoke with her father, which I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know anything about this girl. And I was able to communicate with her dead father to her things that only they knew together. And then when I was done with that, I had to call my friend who had to help me because he was a high priest in the coven.
Have you ever heard of James Randi?
Yeah.
There's some
think so.
videos that you might want to try looking up on YouTube, but by James Randi, because he does a really good job debunking things, magic tricks and things like that. Because once again, the mind is very easily.
I'd be more than willing to prove it.
Then you might. Isn't the James Randi Foundation still going?
I believe so.
There's $1 million for you.
I don't know if the $1 million thing
I don't
is still.
think
Oh, it's not still there? Okay.
I don't want $1 million.
Oh, okay.
So you mentioned a high priest and a coven. Is that correct?
Correct.
So you're involved in a community where they talk about this kind of thing a lot, right?
I was, yeah.
Okay. And before that, you were involved in other religions where they talked about other kinds of metaphysical, mystical things, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I
would find my own path.
Right. And I congratulate you for getting out of those other religions because that's a big step. My concern is that you may be taking some of these things that they are telling you and instilling in you, maybe allowing them to influence the way you're perceiving events that are happening. And I'm not saying that you're...
How would I contact a person I don't even know is dead to a person I don't even know who's alive? And
I don't know. I don't know that you did that. But I also don't know how you would prove to me that you did.
I'd do a seance for you. You could pick anybody you want that I don't know. Anybody you want. I don't know anything as long as they have a dead friend or relative, and I would do a seance for you and prove it. I don't want any recognition. I don't want any money or anything.
Well, I mean, she wants a little recognition because she's calling the show and advertising.
So wait, so then are you telling me not that you heard... So hold on. So you heard a voice when you were driving down the road, and all it said, it was a male voice, it was not yours, and it said stop.
It was a female voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a female voice that was not yours, and it said stop, and it saved your life, right?
It said stop, and it kept going. Then it said to turn on my high beams.
It said stop, and it said turn on your high beams?
Yeah, I was in Tacoma when it said stop. And
Okay.
It said it 3 times, and I kept going. And then in Chehalis, right up as it was going up a hill, it said turn on your high beams. And I turned on my high beams, and there was a deer in the left-hand lane.
So let's say that this proves that there is something that talks to you.
Yes.
Now what?
Enjoy it?
I guess.
I just feel bad for people who don't have any faith that there's anything out there.
Why?
Well, it doesn't seem like what part of this is faith for you? You seem to be giving us...
I actually tried to be atheist and not believe in anything.
But see, that's the thing is we don't try to be atheists. I found out that I am one after I was one because I learned the definition of it and then realized that it's not a positive claim that I know for a fact that there are no gods. It's simply the fact that I have done research and I've been trying to figure out what's out there, and I found out that there's no logical reason to believe that there is one. And then I looked up...
I don't know if there's a God.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I don't either. That's why I'm an agnostic atheist. Means I don't know, but I don't think so.
I think because my mom might be right about that there might be a whole bunch of them, but I don't know for the sure.
But why think that there's anything? So you think that there's something because you hear voices. That's interesting.
Well, okay, Angela, real quick, because I wanna understand this. You're giving us an experience that you had, and I'll grant that you had this experience. There's no way I can know for sure, but okay, you've had this experience. But then you talk about faith. So I'm wondering where the faith comes in. Because what about that experience is supplemented by faith? Are you having faith in what you think caused it? Or how is the faith coming into this?
My faith, I think, is the best way I can articulate it is that I believe in what's around me. I try to be a very factual person, and I try to believe in what I feel and see and hear. And if it's genuine, and I can usually tell if it's genuine and everything, I don't know how to explain how I can tell. I just can. I don't know how to explain that I have certain gifts of prophetic dreams and things like that. My mom knows that I have premonitions. And she's Mormon, like full-fledged Mormon. And my son, who told me to call here, he wanted me to call to help maybe open people's minds to realize that there is, I don't know how to prove it, but there is definitely something out there.
It's interesting.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's energy. I don't know.
I mean, maybe. So that's the thing is I've been learning a lot about quantum physics because I love space. And apparently, if you go and watch, there's tons of documentaries that you can watch, but there's something called dark energy and dark matter. And those are two things that are out in the universe that occupy a lot of space, and we don't understand them. The only reason we gave them the names dark energy and dark matter is because we couldn't think of anything else to call it, and we don't know what it is. So could it be that? I mean, I don't know. That's the thing, is it could be anything, but I'm not going to say that it's a deity. I'm not going to say that it's a god. I'm not going to say that it's, a higher power. It just is. It's just the universe, and it's just existing, and it's just there. And things happen and things don't happen, and I don't understand why I have to claim that I know why everything's happening when I don't.
Yeah, I wish I could explain. What you just said was perfect, because that's exactly how I feel. It's just something is just there. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is, if it is a who. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. It's a bummer for me, because I feel like people think I'm crazy.
No, you're not crazy. You're just human.
But I feel bad when people don't believe in anything.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel, because that's the thing, is nobody doesn't believe in anything.
Right.
And when we're talking about atheists, the claim of an atheist is just that we don't accept your claim that there is something supernatural out there. It's not that we don't believe in anything.
Not even supernatural. It's if you, Angela, if you don't believe in a God, that one does exist for sure, then you're also an atheist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all it means.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. My son, he's autistic. He doesn't really explain things very well.
That's okay.
Well, a lot of people have confusion about what atheist means and the different definitions, but most atheists will tell you that it's just we don't believe for sure that there is a God, right? And there might be, we just won't know and can't know. Yeah. And so we don't believe in it. And that sounds like what you are too. So welcome to the club, I guess.
Yeah, you can, and you can use the word or you can not use the word. It's completely up to you. You can do whatever you want.
I didn't know that, because I told the lady the person on the phone before I got in the queue, I don't know what I am, because I was Christian and now I'm kind of pagan, but I use that more as a lifestyle rather than a religion.
That's fine.
Aliens could be God for all I know. I don't.
That's what I'm saying is, there could be aliens. I mean, if you want aliens, just go look in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. We know nothing about
crazy looking creatures in the ocean.
Crazy.
Anyway, so we're going to move on to other callers, but thank you so much for calling and sharing your views, and see if you can do a little more research and figure out what is there, and then we can talk about it some more.
Yeah, maybe check out Auditory Hallucinations and just do some research and see if you can maybe check one of the boxes and maybe weed some stuff out that way.